With all the Vanguard weapons coming to Warzone, everyone's always hyped about the meta and what's it going to be like for this 2 weeks before a nerf in the next coming weeks, and then the week after what's going to be the meta and blah blah. And I'm always here to try to find the weirdest setups that work, or the strongest shotgun setups that do the most damage up close. So far, I've touched all the shotguns, and I gotta say for once, I feel that the viability of them is more than just with the spammy ones, which is kind of rare. I love the combat shotgun, even after the nerf. It is god tier. It is an amazing shotgun with amazing 2-tap potential. It's not to be slept on. And the other shotgun that's been under the radar that most people still don't really play with is the double barrel shotgun. And after the most recent shotgun tuning patch, the double barrel wasn't stated to be in the notes, so it got untouched, right? No, it definitely got a bit of a tuning, but it isn't all bad. Buck and Slug is the major thing that got nerfed, along with the Defender barrel from what I can tell, but I think that Raven Software accidentally buffed the sawed-off barrel because it is easily the best barrel for this gun now, and despite it saying it hurts range,
so that was a fucking lie.
It basically gives you a longer 2-shot kill than the other barrels do. Okay then, I'm all for it, but what the hell is that? But what's the build for the best double barrel class? I'll leave a timestamp in the description of course, but for now, let's just talk about the double barrel as a whole. This gun, funnily enough, is probably one of the worst base guns in the game. The max damage range is about 8.1 meters, which is awesome, but the only way to get a 2-shot kill with it is to hit the head. If you hit center mass with this thing, you won't get the 2-shot kill, even point blank. Isn't that just really kind of dumb? Of course, no one runs it bare bones like that, but come on, what is that? The true power for this gun comes from the sawed-off barrel, because despite there being one other damage barrel in the game's stats, the sawed-off barrel is the only one that actually increases damage like it says it does. I don't know why they don't just fix descriptions to match, but the sawed-off barrel helps with damage. The Defender barrel, the last barrel for this gun, doesn't. It does help boost that max damage range, but what's the point when you have to 2-shot to the head to get just 1 kill? The sawed-off barrel basically boosts the damage from what seems like around 120 points of damage to about 155-ish, and that's just kind of based off of looking at the health bars in-game, so there's no real measuring here. Some of you may think this sounds eerily similar to the 725 sawed-off, but nope, this thing is already better than the 725. The 725 was consistent up to about 4.6 meters with the 2 shots for the sawed-off barrel, and it's still great, but the double barrel from Vanguard with this barrel does more damage, and guess what? That max 2-shot range is 11 meters. Yeah, you heard that right. All you need is the sawed-off barrel and bam, you have the best double barrel shotgun in Warzone history, besides a doof of course. But this thing, holy shit, it's a monster. I mean, 11 meters. This has to be unintentional. Before the update, it was sitting at around 6 meters for that 2-shot kill, which is still like, damn, I see you, barrel, I see you. But then the update, I guess, just magically turned it up instead of down. Now we have a ridiculously balanced sawed-off, which, let's be real, is a bit overpowered. The whole trade-off here is supposed to be the damage for the range, not both, and not double what the range used to be for it. It's hilarious and it's strong, and honestly, that's all you really need to make this gun a 2-shot beast. It will never 1-shot with base buckshot though, just as a word of warning. But we're not stopping here. Oh no, we're gonna see what we can do to make this thing even better and more cheesy for people to complain about. And what's better than a double barrel shotgun that can 2-shot with a ton of damage? How about 2 double barrel shotguns that can 2-shot with a ton of damage? Akimbo, or dual wield, doesn't hurt damage at all from what I can tell. The only thing it seems to hurt is range, because since you can't aim down sights, you can't really extend your range. It's really hard to test Akimbo guns, but from what I can tell, the range does seem to be hurt mostly from just this, but if you could magically aim down sights with these 2 guns, I believe the 2-shot range would still be that kind of 11-ish meters, which is insane, but I can't say for sure, so don't quote me. Either way, the double barrel Akimbo sawed-off double barrel can 2-tap, meaning 1 shot from each gun consistently around 6 meters. You remember when the Marshals were introduced and everyone was freaking out how they were going to be broken and overpowered because it's a dual-wield shotgun pistol? Then it came out and everyone used it once and was like, oh, and then they threw it in the garbage? Well, except for me, naturally. I try to make these things work. Well, this gun is basically what everyone was afraid that the Marshals would be. Now, we do have access to Buck and Slug as well. Before the update, Buck and Slug was much stronger, and it was overpowered as hell. But now, it's not quite as bad because the damage to the torso is basically the same as the base sawed-off, unless you hit the head, which does a lot more damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Now with Buck and Slug, I was getting consistent 2-taps around 5 meters. And after that, it was kind of inconsistent. Before the update, this was without a doubt the best way to run it. But now, because Buck and Slug removes 4 pellets, I think that it kind of hurts the consistency of the dual-wield shotguns, and so further out it isn't as consistent as the base buckshot with 8 pellets. Does it work? Absolutely. Is it still overpowered? Yeah, it still kind of is, but I prefer running it without buck and slug simply because I like having 16 pellets fly at the enemy with one pull of the trigger from each gun. Packed powder is another good option for the build because it helps your range go out a tiny bit further. I wouldn't recommend incendiary, but it is fun. It just makes it to where you get a bit more hit markers further out as well, since it generally hurts range. Also, for the magazine types we have for this gun, we have 16 gauge and double-aught buck. I usually just avoid them for the few reasons. For one, double-aught buck helps by about only 3%, and 16 gauge hurts your damage. This gun is already a pea shooter with the base gun, and then you put 16 gauge on, it literally lowers damage, so just do not use it. I have yet to find a practical use for it. Plus, don't run double-aught buck with buck and slug. You will lose 6 pellets overall of your 8, and that's just not good. You may as well be just hip-firing slugs at that point. But here is the class setup that I recommend using. First off, the sawed-off barrel, which is pretty much mandatory. We have the full choke to kind of help tighten that spread just a little bit. The remove stock, which is going to help us with our movement speed and our hipfire accuracy, which is always good. Packed powder for a little bit more range. We're not going to use any magazine attachment, so just avoid that. The fabric grip, which helps with hipfire accuracy as well as sprint to fire speed. Akimbo, which is of course essential for this class, and then for perk 2, I generally run quick because it makes you sprint faster, and this gun you will be flying around the map with. It's incredibly fast, and it is just so much fun, and you can juke people quite a bit with how fast you move. It's just so much fun. But that's going to be it for this build. At the end of the day, this is a little bit overpowered. I do have to say, this does require a bit of a nerf, mostly for a few reasons. One, the reload isn't that bad. In fact, it actually reloads with Akimbo faster than it does with the base gun, which is kind of ludicrous and doesn't make sense. Also, the range is a little bit too much, and also the sawed-off barrel shouldn't be two-tapping at 11 meters. That's a little too far in my opinion. It's a lot of far actually. I think it needs to be toned down more to the like 5 to 6 meters, and then I think everything else would kind of balance out. And again, like I said, just make it to where Akimbo takes a little bit longer to reload. But man, this is a fun setup. Use it while you can. You could use buck and slug if you really wanted to, but I prefer it without it. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. So let me know down below in the comments what you think of this. I know a lot of people have been telling me, use the double barrel with buck and slug and all that. And yeah, Akimbo double barrel is pretty insane, guys. I have to agree with you. And now it's even more insane. So go try it out yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.